Upon entering the kitchen, I observed them. Scarlett stands by the counter while Willow is seated at the table. It appeared as though they had prepared their speeches meticulously, despite the fact that neither had uttered a single word thus far. My name is Jonathan Archer, and I have never had an affinity for theatrics. My father often remarked that emotions were liabilities. Austin Archer was a resolute individual who transformed a mere idea into a formidable enterprise. He exhibited a stoic demeanor and possessed a sharp intellect, and I absorbed each lesson he imparted in silence and with great thoroughness, even as I reassured myself that I had no desire to emulate him. If you had posed the question to me a decade ago about my belief in destiny, my response would have been a definitive no. Here I find myself entering a tempest I never anticipated, and in a peculiar manner, I almost feel as though he foresaw it all. I entered into matrimony with Scarlett during our early 20s. Her vibrant spirit and warmth enveloped me, and I felt honored to be the man by her side. We welcomed a daughter, Willow. I dedicated considerable time and resources to my family, striving to fulfill the role of a good husband and father, despite the lingering presence of my father's mannerisms within me. 25 years of wedded bliss. That encompasses a great deal of existence. The discussions, the resolutions, the everyday rituals. I was completely unaware of how swiftly a sense of stability could dissipate or how profoundly illusions could be dismantled upon the realization that, all along, I might have been merely one step away from losing everything I believed to be significant. It commenced, as numerous events often do, on a seemingly unremarkable day, August 27th. I recall it distinctly. The air was sweltering. The sun beat down on the city with relentless intensity, yet within the office, the atmosphere remained under control. I finalized several deals, concluded meetings ahead of schedule, and chose to return home to surprise Scarlett. On September 1st, we celebrated our 25th wedding anniversary. I was considering that we should arrange a getaway. Unbeknownst to me, I was on the verge of entering a confrontation that would irrevocably alter the life I had known. Upon entering the kitchen, I observed them. Scarlett stands by the counter, while Willow is seated at the table. It appeared as though they had prepared their speeches meticulously, despite the fact that neither had uttered a single word thus far. I placed my briefcase on the ground, greeted everyone with a casual hello, and inquired about the current situation. Scarlett gestured towards the chair. "David, please take a seat," she instructed. Willow's gaze flickered between us, exuding a sense of triumph. "Father, we must have a conversation." I settled into my seat, placing my elbows on the table, adopting a demeanor of composed tranquility. "Very well," I remarked, shifting my gaze from one face to the next. "I am attentive." Scarlett took a deep breath and then spoke in a gentle yet assertive manner. "In just 5 days, we will celebrate 25 years. David, I require a transformation. I have been contemplating my aspirations and desires in life. These years have been quite fulfilling, I believe, yet I yearn for the opportunity to venture into new horizons. Could you clarify what you mean by something else?" I inquired, my tone unexpectedly composed. Willow contributed her thoughts. Mom expressed her desire for an open marriage, her tone nearly jubilant. "I believe this is an excellent idea. Every contemporary couple engages in this practice. Indeed, that is a common sentiment, Dad." Material possessions hold little significance. Mutual trust is essential. I directed my attention to my daughter. The final statement regarding trust came across as rather insulting. "Are you suggesting that contemporary couples across the globe are engaging in this practice? Truly?" She nodded as if she possessed expertise on the subject. "Your approach is quite traditional. Love transcends mere physical exclusivity in today's world. True love allows for freedom between partners." Within me, a quiet anger simmered, igniting a burning sensation in my stomach. However, on the surface, I kept a composed expression. "Scarlett," I remarked, shifting my focus to my wife. "Do you resonate with this sentiment?" She bit her lip, her gaze darting across the table. "David, I simply require a transformation. It's not that I'm dissatisfied, I'm simply feeling unfulfilled by the monotony of routine, sharing my nights with the same partner. I am seeking something fresh and innovative." When she expressed it that way, with such minimal consideration, a feeling of discomfort stirred within me. An impulse to rise and depart surged within me. However, I remained in place, rhythmically tapping my fingers on the table, a lingering habit from my days as an Army Ranger. Count, breathe, and maintain your composure. After a thorough discussion, I inquired, "Is this your plan? You are seeing other men, while what should be done?" "Remain at home, bidding farewell as you depart alongside them." Willow let out a derisive scoff. "Please refrain from being overly dramatic, Dad. Engaging in dating is also an option for you. While there are no obstacles in your way, it's important to acknowledge that this may present a significant challenge for you. It is essential to acknowledge that times have evolved. An application or similar tool may be necessary. However, I'm confident you will find a solution." They began to chuckle as if I were merely a punchline on a late-night television show. I brought my hands together, took a deep breath, and inquired, "Is there someone specific you are considering?" "Scarlett?" She paused for just a moment. "Greetings, this is James." She spoke in a gentle tone. "James Smith. He is the proprietor of the charming restaurant located on Avenue Street." Willow leaned forward, brimming with enthusiasm. "Wow, Mom, I truly admire your sense of style. He is exceptionally handsome. Congratulations to you." A sensation of constriction enveloped me from within. James. Naturally, I had hosted business associates at his residence numerous times, and now it seemed he was pursuing my wife. I maintained a steady tone. "It appears that you both have organized it meticulously." "Willow, are you saying that you would be okay with James dating your mother?" She offered a warm, effortless smile. "Certainly. Let's not be so outdated, Dad." I remained silent thereafter. Standing up from my chair, I made my way to the sink, allowing the silence to linger. They appeared bewildered by my composure. "Scarlett," I finally spoke. "This is a serious matter, as you are aware, correct?" She nodded, yet her jaw was set firmly. "I have never been more certain of anything," she stated. "I have turned off the tap. I'm on board." They stood still, and Willow wore a smirk as if I had presented them with a gift. "Are you truly willing to consider an open marriage?" "Indeed," I stated, "but with one stipulation." "There can be no conditions," Willow interjected, her arms crossed firmly. "That exhibits a controlling nature." I established the terms. I interrupted her, pivoting to direct my gaze at both of them. "This residence is mine, as stipulated in the prenuptial agreement I entered into with your mother at my father's urging. Are you both interested in pursuing your open arrangement?" "I appreciate your input, but I will establish the guidelines for our living arrangements in my property. If that is not acceptable, you will need to seek out another home, another way of living. Is that clear?" Scarlett's eyes grew wide, a hint of unease evident within them. Willow attempted to dismiss it with a chuckle. "Dad, legally this is half of Mom's house." However, Scarlett raised a hand. "Stop, Willow," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "He is correct. A prenuptial agreement was indeed signed. The property is owned by David." I could perceive the cracks in Willow's resilient exterior. "Surely you wouldn't consider sending us away, would you, Dad?" I chose not to respond. I chose to exit, allowing them to linger in uncertainty. Later that evening, I lingered outside the kitchen, attuned to their conversation. It seems that old habits are difficult to break. I overheard Willow murmuring, "Rest assured, he will never truly expel you. He is merely pretending. You are the love of his life." Scarlett appeared to lack conviction. She spoke gently. "You don't know your father. He can exhibit a fierce determination when challenged. Keep in mind, he is a former Army Ranger. Are you aware of all that he accomplished in Afghanistan? I possess only a portion of the narrative, and that alone is sufficient to instill fear in me." Willow exhaled sharply. "He is unlikely to take any action. He is merely a cantankerous elder who is about to face an unexpected surprise. We shall see." At that moment, my mind was consumed by the realization that they were completely unaware. During my military years, I unearthed a certain darkness within myself, characterized by a cold and methodical nature. I attempted to conceal it all beneath my suits and ties, yet it had sparked a fuse. I ascended to the upper floor, allowing the household tension to linger. The challenge had been issued. Few understand that when you confront a man who feels trapped, it's wise to prepare for the consequences. The following day, I made my way directly to meet with Ron Jeremy, my attorney since my college days. Regardless of his amusing name and the humor it provoked, Ron was the most astute lawyer I had ever encountered. I had shared my thoughts with him on numerous occasions and was aware that he would appreciate a challenging request. Upon expressing my desire for a post-nuptial agreement aimed at securing against any potential claims from Scarlett, he posed a direct question to me. "What is the reason for not proceeding with a divorce filing?" "It is overly simplistic," I remarked. "I am eager to explore the extent of this journey. I want them to face the consequences of requesting an open marriage without me passively accepting it." He wore a smirk. "You possess a level of cynicism that surpasses that of your father. Let us review these conditions. I have outlined my strategy. A comprehensive post-nuptial agreement that clearly delineates property rights, asset distribution, regular STD testing, stipulations regarding children conceived with outside partners, and restrictions on extramarital partners entering my residence." Ron glanced at my notes and emitted a soft whistle. "You are truly aiming for the heart of the matter, my friend." I recalled the stoic expression of my father. I am in the process of setting the boundaries that they expressed a desire for. Allow them to reconnect with reality. 2 days later, we convened in Ron's office. Myself, Scarlett, Willow, and Scarlett's newly appointed attorney, a tall and sophisticated woman named Leah. Leah's furrowed brow deepened with every page she turned. Upon arriving at the final section, she placed the paperwork decisively onto the table. Leah began with a cold tone, stating that if Scarlett files for divorce while the open marriage agreement remains in effect, she will forfeit any potential alimony or spousal support. She is unable to claim the house. She is unable to assert ownership of the business. She is prohibited from bringing any partner to the marital residence. This encompasses James, as well as any other individual. Scarlett furrowed her brow deeply. "David, that's excessive," she remarked, casting a glance in my direction. "Is there absolutely no support available?" "If you choose to leave me for your new partner," I asked, "what reason do I have to support that arrangement financially? I am merely honoring the commitments we established prior to our marriage." The prenuptial agreement established by my father was comprehensive. However, this document elucidates the sections pertaining to an open arrangement. Additionally, you are responsible for covering your own dating expenses. I will continue to handle your portion of the household bills. However, any additional activities you choose to pursue will be at your own expense." Willow interjected, her voice cutting through the air. "You are causing her embarrassment. Father, this is quite unappetizing." "No," I said, turning to meet Willow's gaze directly. "Your mother has the autonomy to make her own choices. You mentioned that love transcends monetary concerns, so I believe she can manage a date or two without issue. If James is indeed as well off as you suggest, he certainly wouldn't allow her to cover any expenses, would he? Scarlett took a deep breath and with a measured composure replied, "Very well, I will sign." "Leah, let's proceed to finalize it." Leah contorted her lips. "It is unconventional, teetering on the edge of being unacceptable." "I'm comfortable with it," Scarlett asserted, lifting her chin in my direction. He attempts to instill fear in me, yet I remain unafraid. Willow clasped her arms firmly against her chest, her gaze sharp and unwavering. "Mother, are you certain?" Scarlett acknowledged with a nod. "I am confident." Ron presented the documents, and Scarlett affixed her signature. She regarded me with a sense of defiance, as if her pen strokes were a bold act of rebellion. There was a certain admiration for the audacity displayed. Yet another aspect of my thoughts questioned her level of awareness in believing she could maintain any genuine advantage in this situation. In the weeks that followed, I operated on autopilot. In the office, I operated as per usual, engaging in negotiations and growth initiatives, attending meetings and making phone calls. Yet beyond the confines of my thoughts, an unfamiliar sensation awakened within me, a form of analytical malice. Scarlett promptly organized her date with James. Willow encouraged her, teasing me for being outdated, even going as far as to openly jest at dinner with, "Hey Dad, you should give Tinder a shot." I've heard that even seniors can find a match or two. I maintained my composure. The day of Scarlett's highly anticipated date had finally come, prompting me to meticulously orchestrate an intricate plan of my own. If Scarlett had her sights set on James, the proprietor of an upscale restaurant, then I, in a twist of irony, would explore whether his daughter Maria might be open to some companionship. At 22, she was the same age as my daughter. However, she was also a legal consenting adult, navigating her own life. We had engaged in conversation on several occasions at different events. Maria was fully aware of my identity, and she held a strong aversion to her father's arrogance. It appeared she was seeking an opportunity to defy him. I reached out with a blend of seriousness and curiosity, and to my surprise, she graciously accepted the invitation to dinner. On the evening when Scarlett was scheduled to meet James, I accompanied Maria to an exclusive event at a high-end hotel. The event served as a charity fundraiser for veterans, resonating with me on a quiet, personal level. I presented Maria to several associates as my date, and she conducted herself with remarkable poise. She was far more than a typical college student lacking depth. She demonstrated remarkable intelligence, confidently engaging in discussions surrounding global finance and the intricacies of business management. Onlookers observed us, some with puzzled expressions, others with amused smirks. Yet I remained unfazed. The statement was the sole focus of importance. If Scarlett and Willow believed I was too outdated to secure a date, I was determined to demonstrate otherwise. News traveled swiftly. Upon my return home the following morning, I found Willow in the living room, expressing her distress with loud cries. James's daughter was taken out, her voice raised, fists tightly clenched at her sides. "What seems to be the issue with you?" I removed my jacket, paying no mind to her dramatics. I accompanied a consenting adult to a charity function, I stated with composure. "Your mother stayed overnight with James at a hotel." "Correct." "She is at liberty to act according to her own desires. I am available to do the same." Willow's eyes burned with intensity. "That's quite surprising. She is the same age as I am." I turned to confront my daughter. "Are you suggesting that age is merely a number when it comes to your mother, yet it becomes an issue when it involves me?" Fascinating disparity in standards. She wished to respond, yet found herself at a loss for words. With a frustrated huff, she pivoted on her heels and stomped away, making her way back to her childhood bedroom. Scarlett refrained from mentioning it that morning, yet her complexion was ashen, and I could perceive the strain in her stance. She departed for her errands wearing a strained smile, determined to avoid any confrontation. A significant clash occurred one weekend in the living room. As I settled into my armchair, engrossed in the latest financial reports, Scarlett stormed in, her eyes blazing with fury. Willow followed closely, her arms crossed in a protective manner. Scarlett positioned herself in front of me. "I want to end the marriage," she declared sharply. "This charade has gone on long enough. Your actions are disrespectful and humiliating, especially as you pursue a relationship with James's daughter in front of everyone. I did not enroll for that." My gaze shifted to meet hers. "You expressed a desire for an open marriage, Scarlett. This precisely defines the essence of openness." She placed a stack of envelopes onto the coffee table with a casual flick of her wrist. "I have reached my conclusion, David. I find it unbearable to witness my own daughter seeing me in such a diminished state. I find it incredibly difficult to witness my husband openly display his relationship with a younger woman. All right? It is deeply embarrassing. It is time to bring this charade to a close." I observed Willow nodding with great enthusiasm. "Mother is correct. This was certainly not part of the agenda. You are ridiculing us." I restrained myself from laughing. "The strategy," I reiterated. "Did you believe you could simply walk in, confess to having an affair, and expect me to remain at home like a convenient ATM funding your adventures while you relish the company of your new boyfriend? Did you think I wouldn't respond?" "This isn't a war," Scarlett stated, her voice trembling with a blend of anger and desperation. Or at least that was not the intention. "Very well, I acknowledge that I erred. I no longer wish to pursue a relationship with James. I long to return to the way things once were. Is that feasible for us to accomplish? Could we act as though we never attempted this?" "No," I stated plainly, crossing my legs. "We are not shutting down any operations." Scarlett's eyes filled with uncertainty. "Could you clarify what you mean?" I declined. "You were the one who desired an open marriage. We possess a post-nuptial agreement that stipulates this arrangement remains in effect until mutual consent is reached to terminate it, and I do not consent. The arrangement remains in place." She remained poised, yet visibly shaken. "You're punishing me," she said, her voice trembling. I merely shrugged. "You were the one who requested it." Willow expressed her thoughts. "Father, please, let's proceed." She expressed that she no longer desires it. "Please exercise reasonableness. Did you ever truly love Mom?" I turned my attention to Willow. A wave of frustration surged within me, laden with bitterness. "Do you believe that love is a one-way street? Where was your mother's love when she requested to demean me, effectively subjecting me to public humiliation alongside her companion? Did either of you ever take my feelings into account?" They gazed, rendered speechless. I took hold of my wallet, rose to my feet, and made my way to the foyer. "I am preparing to leave," I stated. "Please don't wait for me. I have an engagement this evening." Scarlett's expression shifted dramatically. Willow stared in disbelief, as if she were ready to unleash a barrage of insults. Yet no words emerged. I departed, the sound of the front door slamming marking my exit. 2 days following that confrontation, Willow attempted to interfere once more. She intercepted me in the hallway prior to breakfast. Mother finds herself in tears each evening. She is experiencing profound unhappiness. I proceeded to the kitchen with a sense of tranquility, unhappy due to her plan not going as intended. "Are you suggesting that you have concerns regarding her mental well-being, or are you simply frustrated by having to observe it?" "Both," Willow declared boldly, stepping into my path. "Dad, please stop playing games with Maria. If you wish to maintain the exclusivity of the marriage, then conduct yourself accordingly. If you wish to proceed with a divorce, then take the necessary steps." Please refrain from putting Mom through this kind of distress." I moved past her, suppressing the intense anger rising within me. "You weren't opposed to the notion of my suffering from the outset, were you? Did it bring you amusement to envision your father losing his dignity as you supported your mother?" She recoiled. "That is unjust. The focus was on empowerment." "Spare me," I stated with a sharp tone. "I will no longer tolerate your unreasonable demands. By the way, how is the car lease progressing? Did it not conclude swiftly? Who is responsible for covering the extension costs?" Her brow furrowed in confusion, as though the sudden shift in topic had taken her by surprise. "I regret to inform you, Dad, that I currently lack the financial resources. You should come to a resolution," I remarked. "I can no longer cover your expenses. Your credit card debt and college tuition are equally concerning. Secure employment or seek out another opportunity. Perhaps James or your mother's recent romantic interests. They could potentially be charitable. It's uncertain." Her complexion drained of color. "Are you truly serious? You cannot simply sever ties with me. I am your daughter." I placed my coffee mug down with precision. "You chose to support your mother, and that's perfectly acceptable. You are now faced with the repercussions of your actions." Her teeth were tightly clenched in a display of frustration. "Are you really going to make me plead?" "Attempt to engage in work?" I stated with an icy demeanor. "Have you ever come across that?" She exited with fervor, tears welling in her eyes, exclaiming, "You're a monster!" as she vanished into the corridor. Another fortnight passed slowly. Willow's expenses accumulated. She possessed a leased car, faced increasing college loans, and lacked a stable job. She devoted her days to messaging friends, anticipating a miracle. Perhaps she anticipated that I would yield. Ultimately, the time bomb detonated. One afternoon, I came home from work to discover Willow waiting on my doorstep, her expression filled with anger and tears marking her cheeks. "I received a letter indicating that they intend to repossess the car," she said, thrusting a piece of paper towards me. "This is not feasible. I require my vehicle. I cannot simply skip class or arrive at a location via bus in an unrefined manner." With a sigh, I maneuvered past her and proceeded to unlock the front door. "If you find yourself too proud to utilize public transportation, that is a matter for you to address." She entered behind me, her gestures animated and expressive. "Dad, you always assured me that you would support me, that financial concerns wouldn't be a burden during my college years. Are you truly considering retracting your commitment?" I cast a disapproving glance in her direction. "My stipulation for settling your bills was that you show me a modicum of respect. In light of your and your mother's attempts to humiliate me, I find myself reconsidering my previous stance. If you find the new reality challenging, you are welcome to depart." "I am unable to settle any of these debts," she exclaimed. "I currently have approximately $300 in my bank account." I made my way to the living room. "This does not concern me. Inquire with your mother's partner. Perhaps James could issue you a check, or it might be one of your mother's prospective companions who can assist." Willow exhaled in astonishment. "That is harsh." I offered her a frosty, constrained smile. "I am simply adhering to your reasoning, my dear daughter. Mother is available, and you are as well. Isn't everyone contemporary these days? Is that not what you desired?" In a moment of exasperation, she struck the arm of the couch. "What is the reason for your unkind behavior?" "Indeed, please share," remarked a fresh voice. Scarlett emerged from the hallway. Her expression was fragile. With her arms crossed over her chest, she directed her gaze at Willow and then at me. "What is the reason for imposing this punishment on both of us?" I glanced at my wife. "I am not imposing any penalties on anyone. Disloyalty will not be rewarded." Scarlett's gaze shifted to Willow, who was teetering on the brink of tears. She mellowed her tone. "Please, Will, kindly proceed upstairs. I will speak with him." Willow shot me one last glare before storming off, angrily brushing past her mother. Scarlett held her position until she departed, then turned to confront me directly. "David, that will suffice. Your point has been clearly articulated. This whole open marriage situation has proven to be a misguided choice, yet your current behavior is crossing into cruelty. She is your daughter. She is youthful. She is unaware of the situation she has entered." I simply shrugged. "She possesses the maturity to entice you into an affair. She possesses the maturity to manage the repercussions." Scarlett clenched her fists tightly. "If that is your approach to handling Willow, so be it. However, can we engage in a civil conversation between ourselves?" She swallowed. "I have concluded my association with James. Understood. He proved to be quite the eloquent charmer. He has already distanced himself and canceled the most recent dates, in fact. You have obtained what you desired. I find myself in a state of humiliation. May we bring this madness to a close?" "How do I stop it?" I inquired. "Conclude the marriage. Let us aim to return to a sense of stability, or at the very least, establish a new normal devoid of arbitrary timelines or unnecessary conflict. I am prepared to sign any document presented to me." My jaw tightened. 2 weeks ago, you made that same request. I have already communicated my decision as a negative response. What leads you to believe that anything has changed?" Her eyes shimmered with unshed tears. "I can't do this anymore," she nearly shouted, her voice cracking. "Your presence with Maria is quite difficult for me to accept. She is the same age as my daughter. The idea of you sharing a bed with her is unbearable for me. It's causing confusion for me. Let us reunite as a couple once more, even if it isn't flawless." I gazed at her intently. "It was you who opened this door. You maintain it in an open position. We have reached a critical juncture." She settled onto the couch, concealing her face in her hands. "You've become so filled with hatred now," she whispered. "Where is the man I wed?" "The moment you requested an open marriage, that man ceased to exist," I remarked, my tone devoid of compassion, before turning away. A month has elapsed. Willow, exasperated by my unwillingness to finance her lifestyle, decided to move out. She spent time with friends, but the experience was tumultuous. Scarlett, abandoned, sank further into despair. She wandered the house in a state of partial undress, moving with an air of intent, as if in pursuit of something elusive. From time to time, I would catch her sifting through old photographs, silent tears tracing down her cheeks. One day, she confronted me on the back porch. Her eyes appeared bloodshot. "David, I have something important to share with you." She spoke softly, mentioning that she had been consulting with doctors. "I have not been feeling well." I arched an eyebrow, observing the noticeable weight loss she had experienced. The contours of her shoulders protruded in unfamiliar angles. "Doctors," she acknowledged, inhaling unsteadily. She admitted to testing positive for an STD, her face flushing a deep crimson. "I received it from James. I never considered that he would, but regardless, I am currently on medication. It is manageable, yet quite embarrassing, so I trust you find satisfaction in that. Your retribution has been achieved." Something within me stirred, a flicker of guilt or pity that I couldn't quite identify, yet my voice stayed composed. "I am quite displeased, Scarlett. This situation is a direct result of your decision. Do you believe I arranged this? Indeed, you requested an open marriage. I agreed, and then you swiftly found yourself in bed with the first man who captivated you." A tear cascaded down her cheek, and she brushed it away with irritation. "I understand that you have strong negative feelings towards me. I sincerely hope you are prioritizing safety in your relationship, as sexually transmitted diseases are a serious concern. I fixed my eyes on the fence, on the horizon stretching beyond, deliberately avoiding her gaze. Maria is not merely a passing interest, but I appreciate your concern. She gazed at me, her voice quivering. You are a creature of darkness. I remained silent. She spun around and departed, leaving me solitary on the porch. I lingered there for quite some time, allowing the autumn breeze to envelop me. A part of me experienced a subtle sorrow for her, for the challenges she was facing. Another section merely echoed the familiar refrain. She is responsible for the situation she finds herself in. 3 weeks later, the situation intensified once more. Willow unexpectedly burst into the house, filled with outrage and urgency, forcefully closing the door behind her. I was in the kitchen, engrossed in my emails, when she entered with a heavy stomp. I have overdue loans, she said, her voice quivering with frustration. I am unable to cover them. Father, it is essential that you settle the outstanding payments. I maintained my focus on my phone. I have no actions to take, I responded. I have made it clear that I can no longer serve as your personal financial resource. Her eyes scanned the room with swift precision. Mom is currently unable to provide assistance. She hardly has sufficient funds to cover her own expenses, let alone mine. James has unexpectedly disappeared from view. She is unable to request his assistance. At which point should I make my turn? I placed my phone aside and locked eyes with her. As an adult, it's time to take responsibility and find your own way, she said sharply. You would allow your own daughter to be overwhelmed by debt. Your actions could jeopardize my credit and future, all due to a personal grudge. Indeed, I pointed out, it is you who has compromised your credit. You who aligned yourself with your mother mocked me as if I were an outdated artifact. It seems that the relic is no longer inclined to support your lifestyle. She approached me with an intensity that suggested she was ready to unleash her anger. However, David and I tensed, prepared to defend ourselves. Do not test my patience, I cautioned, my tone measured. I have exercised considerable patience with you. If you wish, you might consider seeking assistance from your mother's partner, or perhaps explore alternative employment opportunities beyond the efforts you've undertaken thus far. If your friends are unable to provide you with a loan, that is not a concern of mine. Very well, she retorted. I will not forget this. In your later years, should you find yourself in need of care, do not anticipate my assistance. I raised an eyebrow. I am not concerned. I am fully capable of financing my own retirement. She gazed intently, her chest rising and falling rapidly, before abruptly turning and escaping. I could hear her angry footsteps reverberating through the hallway. Approximately 5 minutes later, I heard the front door slam shut. Once more, she had departed, leaving me in a house enveloped in silence. In the weeks that followed, the pervasive sense of heartbreak surrounding me became unmistakable. Scarlett continued to lose weight and appeared to be physically exhausted. She seldom ventured outside, and when she did, she would slip in and out like a mere shadow of her former self. Occasionally, she would gather the courage to make some modest requests of me. May we have a conversation? David, may I prepare dinner for us so we can have a thorough discussion about everything? I remained steadfast. My focus had turned to Maria. Initially, my connection with her was rooted in rebellion, yet over time, authentic feelings began to develop. Her ambition drove her to diligently cultivate a portfolio as a fashion model. We shared a laugh about the complexity of our connection. Her father had been in a relationship with my wife, and now we found ourselves creating something genuine from that tumultuous past. I discovered a sense of relaxation in her presence that I hadn't experienced with Scarlett in many years. She exuded warmth while maintaining a straightforward approach. She inquired about Afghanistan once, and for the first time in decades, I shared with someone what I had experienced there and the impact it had on me. She listened with an open mind. She always respected my past and my vulnerabilities, never using them as leverage against me. One evening, while we enjoyed a glass of wine in her apartment, she spoke softly, revealing, "I'm pregnant." In that instant, it felt as if the whole universe came to a standstill. "How far along?" I inquired, my chest tightening. "Approximately 8 weeks," she remarked, examining my expression. As the father, it is clear that I wish to retain it. A tumult of emotions overwhelmed me: shock, apprehension, a fleeting joy, and a twinge of guilt. "Are you completely certain?" She nodded, her eyes gleaming with enthusiasm. "Indeed, while this was not part of my initial plan, I am prepared, and I trust you are as well." I struggled to maintain my composure, just as my father had instructed me to do. In that moment, I came to the profound realization that I desired this child. A portion of me yearned to embrace fatherhood correctly this time, free from the resentment of a troubled home life. "Very well," I finally stated. "Understood, Maria. We will find a solution." She released a breath, as if finding solace. "Thank you very much. I understand that it's complex, but I have no desire to escape. My intention was never to seek vengeance against my father." The mention of James caused me to tense momentarily, yet I pushed it aside and gently kissed her forehead. We should focus on ourselves and the baby, rather than discussing him. Upon my return home, I found Scarlett in the living room, slouched on the couch, her gaze fixed vacantly on the reality TV screen. She silenced the show the instant I entered. "Where were you?" she inquired, her tone lacking any enthusiasm. I responded with Maria, making my way toward the stairs. "David," she said, her tone changing subtly. "I apologize for the situation that has unfolded, but I would appreciate the opportunity to discuss the next steps moving forward. Is it possible for us to finalize this marriage or initiate divorce proceedings so that I can move forward? The uncertainty is unbearable." I halted on the staircase, glancing back. "Should we proceed with a divorce, you will relinquish all claims. You depart with virtually nothing to show for it." She offered a weary nod. "I understand, but perhaps that is preferable to existing in this manner." I examined her intently. She appeared genuinely fatigued. Her hair had dulled, her cheeks appeared hollow, and her eyes were surrounded by dark circles. In an instant, I envisioned the Scarlett I wed many years ago, and a brief wave of sadness surged within me, though it was momentary. I indicated that we would discuss it further, maintaining a calm demeanor, and then proceeded upstairs. 2 months later, Maria welcomed a premature baby boy, whom we named Kevin. The whirlwind of new fatherhood enveloped me, eclipsing any lingering thoughts of Scarlett or Willow. With a sense of renewed purpose, I began to step away from the office more frequently, entrusting responsibilities to my senior managers while concentrating on Maria and the child. I made my proposal shortly after Kevin's birth with the intention of providing him a stable family environment. Maria agreed. A modest ceremony was organized privately, following my insistence on executing a new prenuptial agreement. A part of me found amusement in the realization that I was becoming like my father. Another aspect acknowledged that the elder was correct in safeguarding what is truly important. Nevertheless, I found it impossible to completely disregard Scarlett. She once reached out to me in the late hours, her voice tinged with a sense of delirium. "David," she murmured, her voice trembling. "I believe I may have erred. I would like to come and see you. I am currently experiencing some discomfort. I required your assistance, so I intervened with her. Reach out to your parents, Scarlett, or contact an ambulance if you are facing a medical emergency. I am responsible for the care of a newborn. I am no longer your savior." She remained quiet for a complete 5 seconds, and then I heard her succumb to her emotions.
"I hate you,"
she said, her voice heavy with tears. She ended the call. That marked the final occasion we communicated directly via phone. A few weeks later, I initiated the divorce process. I instructed Ron to handle it swiftly and discreetly, without any commotion or prolonged conflicts. He completed the task with remarkable precision. Scarlett executed the documents with an air of acquiescence, possibly feeling a sense of relief. She vanished shortly thereafter, likely heading to her family's residence, although I chose not to inquire. I dedicated myself to Maria and Kevin, crafting a new narrative from the remnants, Willow. I learned through a fleeting rumor that she had secured a position at a fast food establishment where she is flipping burgers. One afternoon, I visited that same McDonald's, primarily driven by curiosity. I refrained from initiating a conversation with her. She failed to notice my presence. She moved swiftly between the kitchen and the serving area, her hair neatly tied back, her face slightly flushed, yet she appeared well, more vibrant than the last time I encountered her. Perhaps earning a living was imparting to her the true essence of self-reliance. I exited with my lunch in hand, remaining silent. I experienced a peculiar sense of pride in her newfound sense of responsibility. Yet, the divide between us remained significant. I allowed her the freedom to choose her own path. 5 years have elapsed. Kevin was an exuberant child, energetically darting around the house. Maria and I enjoyed a steady and secure life together. I did not attempt to reach out to Scarlett or Willow. A portion of me sought closure. Another aspect was too deeply rooted in the new reality to linger on past regrets. From time to time, through casual acquaintances or limited news updates, I learned that Willow had secured another position.
She was leasing a modest apartment, gradually settling her debts. Everything appears to be in order, so I see no need for my intervention. Her decision was made long ago. The opposition to my finances was precisely what she required. On a Sunday morning, the phone began to ring. I was in the living room, assisting Kevin in organizing his art supplies. Maria sat outside, savoring her coffee in the gentle warmth of the sun. The caller ID caught me by surprise, Scarlett's father. Our communication ceased following the finalization of the divorce. I have picked it up. Greetings. After a brief moment of silence, his voice emerged, soft and restrained. David, he spoke softly. Scarlett has departed this life as of last night. An unexpected jolt surged through my chest. What is happening? And how does it work? I successfully accomplished the task. She resided with us, yet her health had been deteriorating for some time. The infection she contracted from her lover, James, never completely resolved. Challenges. She spent several months frequently visiting the hospital. Last night, she simply... He trailed off, his voice quivering. She remained asleep. I remained in place, my phone gripped firmly, my throat constricted. At last, I expressed my condolences, saying, "I'm sorry for your loss." Words insufficient for something so definitive. "Are you feeling all right?" He took a moment, releasing a noticeable breath. "We will handle it effectively. I wanted to bring this to your attention." I acknowledged him with a nod, even though he was unaware of my gesture. "I appreciate you sharing that information with me." He offered no further words, just a weary sigh, and then the line disconnected. I set the phone down, gazing at the unlit display. Kevin was diligently engaged in the careful coloring of a paper airplane. Maria was in the yard, softly humming while enjoying her coffee in the warm sunlight. I reflected on Scarlett's last days, her gradual decline, the sorrow and the remorse. Countless times she must have uttered my name, filled with either anger or sorrow. A tumult of contrasting feelings enveloped me: compassion, solace, remorse, resentment.
However, I predominantly sensed the burden of irreversibility. Once certain lines are crossed, there is no turning back. I set the phone aside and softly tousled Kevin's hair. He gazed up at me with sparkling eyes. "Father, may I present something to you?" "Certainly," I replied, managing a faint smile. "Kindly present it to me."